All right. Hey there. Good morning, everybody. Christopher Inks with Texas West Capital coming at y'all live here. What is it? Just a few minutes after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on Friday, June 14th, 2024. Just north of Houston, Texas, guys. And man, what a crazy, guys, the last few weeks, a whole year it's been, right? Everything from spot Bitcoin ETFs to, oh my gosh, the political side of this, the whole Bitcoin and crypto thing now. If you've been paying attention and follow me, if you subscribe to the Market Breakdown, you know, my free weekly newsletter, I mentioned just recently here about Bitcoin miners and how they're diversifying into AI and some things that could mean. I mean, just there's so much going on here. And so I've got a great guest today. I've got Juan Leon from Bitwise Investments, and I've had him on here before. One of my favorite people. I believe he's senior crypto researcher over there. He'll correct me if I'm wrong on that when he comes on in a minute. But anyway, the information that he has is always so great, guys. And he's got a great mind, really thinks beyond things. And today we're going to talk about, in the first half of the show here, we're going to talk about this intersection between Bitcoin and AI. So hopefully you guys are excited about that. On the back half of the show, of course, we'll take a look at some charts like we normally do. We'll take a look at, Bitcoin, maybe the Qs, S&P, Ethereum, Sol, Link, some of the other ones there like that. But before then, we've got all this great information coming out. So right before I bring them on, I want you guys to go ahead and make sure that you hit the like, subscribe to the channel, follow me if you're following me on a different platform, since we simulcast across different social media platforms. And yeah, leave a comment. You guys have been really good about not being jerks. That's awesome. I don't mind disagreement. I love disagreement. I love to discuss things. But, I mean, if you want to prove to the world you were raised in a barn, you can do so. But, I don't know. It's the best kind of approach to the world. So let me go ahead and bring up Mr. Juan Leon here. How are you doing, man?
Hey, Chris, I'm doing great. And it's fantastic to be back here with you. How are you doing?
Man, I'll tell you, if it wasn't for the fact that I've been so busy, I might actually get things done. But, as we were kind of discussing a little bit before the show here, we've got a lot of things going on at TWC, even exploring launching a fund soon. And that's kind of exciting. I say soon, how soon can you launch funds, right? But exciting things we've got going on there. And, of course, the new newsletter that I'm going to put out, Bitcoin miner stock report. By the way, guys, I believe the link's underneath here. Sign up for that as well, because that's going to include at least one interview every month with a researcher, an analyst, or somebody deep in the Bitcoin mining space. And fortunately for us, we've got Juan Leon going to be in the first month, so he's going to be the inaugural interview on there, discussing Bitcoin miners and these things that we could see coming out of all that. Again, I kind of touched on this in this previous newsletter, the Market Breakdown newsletter the previous week. I touched on it a little bit. So a lot of great stuff. Guys, listen, if you aren't paying attention right now, and let me make this really clear before we jump in here. Bitcoin, if you're into Bitcoin, hopefully right now, if you haven't understood this yet, hopefully right this second, you're going to understand that you should not be in Bitcoin just for Bitcoin's sake. Bitcoin as a base layer of things to come, I think, is really where you need to look. And especially if you're looking to invest something, not just trade daily, or we're looking, like, if you're looking for an investment that could potentially just rip your eyes out, something like NVIDIA or something. I really think we're going to see something like that coming out in multiple forms, as Bitcoin continues to grow here. So with that said, Mr. Juan, so you were talking to me real quickly there about, you had said that you went to Consensus in April. Geez, whiz. This is what I'm saying. Just recently here in Austin, and you were really excited. You said it's like something like 15,000 people there, and a lot of really great information. But you said the thing that people are really probably missing is really just what this whole Bitcoin and AI thing can be. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Last year when I went to Consensus, I walked away thinking tokenization is really on the verge of breaking out. And sure enough, Then we saw this year, BlackRock launched its first tokenized money market fund on Ethereum, and then the tokenization wave begin to swell. And this year, after consensus, my hunch this year is that the intersection of AI and crypto is going to be much bigger than people imagine. And I think it's going to be the next big mega trend. So let me tell you a little bit of why. Well, just to set the context of how big this opportunity could be, PwC projects that AI and crypto could add 17.5 trillion to the global economy by 2030. I actually think that the synergies between the two technologies have a bigger compound effect. And I think that combined value could be 20 trillion or north of 20 trillion. So it's a massive opportunity. If you think about that, that is at current levels of global GDP, 20 trillion is close to 20%, is 15-20% of global GDP. So it's huge. It's a massive opportunity of additional value creation and wealth creation and economic activity. So yeah, let's jump into what are these the opportunities in this intersection. I think there's we're already starting to see some of that momentum materialize, but I think there's also longer term opportunities that are yet to emerge and are just starting. I think right now we can already see, as you mentioned earlier, what's happening between Bitcoin miners and AI. There is, everyone's seen the massive boom that NVIDIA has had. It's propelled its market cap to upwards of 3 trillion, made it the second largest publicly traded company in the world. It's just been amazing what the run that company has had. But what many people, an adjacent thing to that many people are not totally aware of, is that is driving huge demand for high performance data centers. So there's different tiers of data centers, and the ones that can house AI applications are really the top tier of data centers. And those data centers are in very short supply. So currently, according to a CBRE report, showed that over 80% of data center space, high performance data center space, is already leased out and maxed out. And so there's a shortage of this data center space. And that's where the Bitcoin miners are coming in. Bitcoin miners, as many of your viewers may know, are built for the entire purpose of processing and storing gargantuan amounts of data as they process Bitcoin transactions to secure the network. So they actually have the very resources, powerful chips, state-of-the-art cooling systems, the data center infrastructure that these AI companies are desperate for. And so this is a really huge opportunity for the miners. We're already seeing the beginning of that. This past week, we saw the biggest AI miner deal announced with Core Scientific announcing a $3.5 billion revenue deal over 12 years with CoreWeave. Later that week, CoreWeave announced that they wanted to buy them out for over $1.6 billion. That's still in the works. May happen, may not happen, but it shows you that the demand for the Bitcoin miners and their data centers. And there's others that have started announcing these AI initiatives, and it's fantastic for the miners because now they have a new source of demand that diversifies their revenues.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was reading up on that, and what I noticed was it's for these Bitcoin miners to actually get into where the hyperscalers and the AI and be in those kind of data centers. There is some kind of what do you call it? They have to redo it a bit, the centers there, because it is a different type of approach than what Bitcoin mining is. But the big thing being that they already have the data center. I mean, that's the big thing. They've got them in place. They've got the stuff there. And then on top of that, it's the fact that many of them have these really great energy deals going on. And JP Morgan, I believe it was, recently was talking about that we could probably watch for some of these Bitcoin miners to be taken over. And you would look for the ones that have the, again, the really good kind of energy deals in place.
Yeah.
Man, so when I look at that, and then we look at what I know Iron's getting into AI, it's been in AI, and they've had this big move recently here as well.
Mhm.
So, I've been a big Bitcoin miner person, as far as, hey, listen, guys, banging the drum. You should be in for about a year and a half since they basically bottomed out. Clean Spark, I think at the time was around $2 and change. And just in the last year and a half, they went up like 12x.
Yep.
And so I think, again, I continue to be this big proponent for it. But even at that time, I wasn't as deeply into this whole AI thing, which I've done more so lately. So if you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, well, there's miners out here, again, we know we've got like, Hut 8, we've got Iron, we've got, a few others in there. Who do you think really is positioned? I guess we can leave Core Scientific out of it since they have the big CoreWeave thing. Who do you think's probably really kind of positioned well for this, bringing this in? Because again, like you said, it's diversification. It's a higher cost to do AI, but they get a higher. I think I was looking at something like a 20% profit margin versus, whatever it is, 5% or whatever it is with Bitcoin mining. Who do you think maybe is better positioned coming into this right now?
Yeah, these deals, these AI deals, as you just mentioned, are very lucrative. So it's exciting for the miners. It's a big opportunity. Core Scientific already very much at the center of it with announcing that huge deal. I think Iris is very well positioned. They've announced AI initiatives. I think Hut 8 is well positioned as well. Those are two that I would mention, but many of the others are exploring in that as well. I've seen announcements from Hive Digital, from Bit Digital. Clean Spark, I think, is looking into it as well, and TerraWolf also. So I think most of them will probably look into this and announce initiatives because they're all pretty well equipped. As you were talking about, electricity is a huge cost center for the miners because of the intense computational work that they do, and so they've all from the get-go been racing to land really low cost contracts for power, and that is really valuable for the AI companies. As you said, their infrastructure has to get repurposed a bit with the chips. The ASIC chips for Bitcoin mining are not the same as the GPUs, right. But some of the companies that had GPUs from when they were mining Ethereum before it transitioned to proof of stake now can repurpose these. Okay. These companies have relationships with NVIDIA and some of the other GPU makers. And some of them are just hosting the infrastructure and the AI companies are providing the chips. But they have the infrastructure set up, the cooling systems, the data center space, and as you mentioned, the access to power. So that can all be repurposed pretty easily for AI. And they're all seeing this wave of demand. And I think you're right to to point your listeners to look into the miners. Because even with the run that they've had over the past year, they still are underperforming Bitcoin this year. A lot of it on concerns of the halving and that cutting their revenues. But we've seen the miners outperform in the year after the halving in every cycle. I think that'll likely be the case this year as well, and even more so now with these AI deals that they're getting, because it's additional revenue, very higher margin. And that's a great opportunity for the miners.
Yeah, I love that. So beyond the miners, what else do you see as far as, AI and crypto, Bitcoin, whole thing kind of coming together?
Yeah. So the miners are the immediate opportunity. That's where we're already seeing the action happen. But longer term, there's really big opportunities for these two technologies, AI and crypto, to intertwine. I think, if you think about, we've seen the success of ChatGPT, fastest growing application of all time. I think they notched 100 million users in 2 months. But they've also been in the crosshairs of controversy. We saw that run-in with Scarlett Johansson in the plagiarism sort of scandal recently. There was the whole governance, fire this Sam Altman, bring him back days later. And all of this has, I think is a microcosm to the larger questions that are coming up with AI about who controls this these AI generated content. How transparent is that? how can users verify the authenticity of media with the advent of deep fakes stemming from AI. To that point, actually, the World Economic Forum this year named the explosion in falsified information from AI as a top immediate risk to the global economy. So it's a big deal. Yeah. And that is one area where Bitcoin can really play can really come to help. Blockchains are available to anyone, not controlled by any central entities. The technology is built on the tenets of being accessible, being transparent, being immutable, so not falsifiable. And that can help counter the deep fake and false information from AI. I think it's going to bring checks and balances to AI, and so an example of that currently is, for example, a startup in the crypto space called Attestive. And what Attestive does is they create a digital fingerprint for videos based on the underlying metadata. So, for instance, when a video is created, it stores the timestamp of where and at what time it was created, and stores that on a blockchain. So then, if the video is manipulated by AI, for example, any platform where the video is viewed can check the video against the original fingerprint on the blockchain and let the viewer know that it's been doctored. And so it can alert you as you're viewing the video, the content has been manipulated. And so you could see how that blockchains can be used to validate everything from original research to official government and corporate communications, to a host of everything that's produced and put on the internet, all the content. And so blockchain can be a solution to that.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I mean, I always kind of, I'm going to be 50 here this year. I can't believe that, half a century been around on this planet. Okay. But growing up, so I grew up before, when personal computers were just starting to come out, and so I've seen technology grow, and I've been around, prior to it, really what it is. And so for me, my biggest thing was, was these deep fake stuff, right? It comes out and you're like, man, what the hell? How are you going to actually be able to, kind of know what the hell's right anymore, with what's going on there? And I think that's so for me, I mean, I'm excited about what they're doing, because that's an amazing, a real world, great use for it, so people don't get caught up in the, this is, Biden saying this or Trump saying that, or, this is what's going on in Ukraine and Russia right now. You actually get the real kind of thing.
Exactly. I mean, the biggest concern is that false information is eroding truth, and it's eroding our trust in leaders, in institutions, and that is eroding our societal fabric of trusting each other and our democracy. And I think Bitcoin, blockchains and crypto, things happening on Bitcoin, I think it's going to play a huge role in helping us as a global society restore our trust in each other, in our leaders, in our institutions, and so I think that's an incredibly powerful and a great thing that blockchain will bring to the world as AI continues to proliferate.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, because what we've noticed throughout history is, everybody used to grow their own food, right? Everybody used to do all these things, and which doesn't leave them time to do a lot else. And as societies started coming together and getting larger, and we started figuring out new ways to do things, people could spend their time doing more of other things, and somebody else would produce the food. Now, I don't know that's necessarily so great today. We got a lot of bad things going on with it, but nonetheless, when we look at that, and then we look in the form of truth, right? We say, okay, well, if I have to concern myself with, are they telling the truth at all times, and I have to look and I have to do all this research, that takes a lot of time out of my day, out of my life, which keeps me from being as productive as I could be. And let's face it, societies grow when the people in them are productive. So, again, when we're looking at this, I think it's a great boon, not just for, people, but maybe kind of getting us back on track to where people do feel better about their governments. It's hard to, to trust somebody else with these big things that governments do. And like you said, especially as of late, it's become really questionable at times, who's really doing what, why, and how. So, maybe this brings about some kind of golden age of societies that a lot of people would like. And I know you've got to go here soon, but are there any other areas that you see maybe, crypto and AI kind of coming together?
Yeah, absolutely. Another area is the intersection of virtual assistants, AI assistants, and crypto. So right now, you can ask Siri to tell you what the weather is, to do a few simple things. But in the future, infusing AI into virtual assistants is going to allow you to do a lot more. It's really going to be a huge enhancer for productivity. You think about right now, you have to manage your investment portfolio, keep up with what's going on in the market. In the future, you'll be able to program your AI trading assistant to be able to, know your risk tolerance, and it'll be able to navigate market conditions and adjust your portfolio dynamically. But the way these AI assistants will really be able to take off is if they work with cryptocurrencies and with smart contracts on blockchains to be able to transact on the internet. If they have to go through your bank, go through intermediaries such as your bank account and some centralized companies to execute these things, they're going to get blocked out. It's going to be very inefficient. If you hook them up to a smart wallet that is able to interact with a smart contract, and the smart contract is able to execute the functions that you want it to do seamlessly. This is how we are able to bring AI assistants to the internet to be able to do complex tasks. And I think that is a huge boon. It'll be a huge boon to productivity, to economic growth. And I think that's a huge way they'll interact. The two will interact together.
Yeah, I love that. And I really, I've been thinking about since you said it about, this potential, 16 to 20 trillion or more, coming in 2030. And I really like that because, again, everybody's really looking at this whole idea that the end of the world's coming and whatnot. But how does that happen if you've got that kind of, 20% of GDP, additionally coming in over the next, by the next 5 years out?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic that you're getting your listeners to be attuned to these changes in technology because, the history of society is change, and it's often technological change, and there's winners and losers out of that. And the more people understand the opportunities with AI and crypto, the more they can help themselves in their skills, in their financial, in their wealth creation, and the more they can participate in these growing trends and in these changes that are starting to happen and will continue to happen. And instead of being left behind and marginalized, they can look towards a brighter future where they can participate effectively in society, adapt, pick up new skills, learn how to invest properly, and find the opportunities. So I think you're doing your listeners a great service by exposing them to these technology trends.
Well, hopefully they'll listen. I've really, just really love having you on, man. I got to get you back on again. Hey guys, listen, make sure you're following him. I know y'all are on X. I know you are, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. It's right below the video here. It's Singularity7X. That's Juan Leon there. You can follow him over there. And once you're following him, make sure you're following the other guys there at Bitwise as well. Teddy and Hunter and, the other research guys as well that are there. I'm going blank on everybody I'm following right now.
Yeah, but Chris, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for the shout out. We really love the partnership with you and all the work that you're doing. So thank you for having me on today. Thank you for giving Bitwise a shout out. We're here to help investors navigate the opportunities in crypto. We do a lot of free educational materials that you can find on our website. So please come on board, check us out, and look forward to chatting with you again soon, my friend.
That sounds fantastic, man. I know you got to go. You got another meeting, but I really appreciate you giving me some time this morning, man. And I'll be getting with you on the interview there for the Bitcoin stock market, Bitcoin miner stock report.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Congratulations on that launch. Stay cool in this Texas heat. I know we're both in Texas, and it's but we'll talk soon.
Sounds good, man. All right. Take care. Everybody, make sure you're following Juan and drop him a note. Say hi, all right?
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, man. I'll tell you what, honestly, as far as, you know, companies out there go that really provide you guys with a lot of great information for free. As far as the market itself goes, you know, I would say that Bitwise is probably one of the top ones there. That's why I do a lot, you know, talking with them and whatnot, because, you know, again, for me, it's about helping you guys find the information that you need to make the decisions that you need, and not just for today, but for the future, right? So I'm not getting paid anything, just so you know. I'm not getting paid anything to talk about them here, but absolutely great company, I think. You know, if I had to work for somebody, I'd probably be doing whatever I could to work for them. So a lot of good stuff there. Let me see here. Real quick question. If we transition to a golden age, does that nullify or postpone your call for a crash after 50,000 in the Dow that I hypothesized a few weeks back? Yeah. You know, again, yeah, because this has been the thing, right? So I was one of the ones a few years back that I was talking about, you know, I think we've probably got a large recession, depression, potentially even coming in, you know, but then we didn't get, you know, the kind of blow off top that I was looking for and expecting. And that's when, you know, as we were pulling back, I said, listen, I think this is only going to be a pullback. We're going to get to new all-time highs, which of course we have. And at that time I was talking about, listen, if we do that, we're looking at probably 50,000 on the Dow. Yeah. You know, if we're doing something like this, it doesn't mean we can't have a recession coming in, right? But I think that type of thing would definitely nullify the idea of some sort of great, big, huge depression. And this is the thing about technology, right? Technology is deflationary, right? Because what it does is technology takes the work of many people and puts it into one, right? So it's deflationary in that aspect, right? Where you may have needed 100 people to do a job previously, with whatever technology coming out, you may only need 20 people, right? So, but the productivity kicks up. And so when we're looking at it, now that doesn't mean, oh my God, everybody's going to lose their jobs and that's the end of it. No, it creates new opportunities, right? It creates new jobs. So I've always been a big proponent about upskilling. I've never been this, you know, again, if you were, you know, my father's age growing up, you kind of picked one company, you stuck with it for your entire life, basically, right? And a lot of those were manufacturing type jobs. Well, what's happened to manufacturing over the last 20, 30 years, right? It's continued to, the technology continue to advance, and the job security isn't there quite like it is, but it's created new opportunities in running that technology. So I'm a firm believer in lifelong learning, upskilling yourself. You know, I do it all the time with a whole bunch of different stuff. You know, I know a lot about I know a little bit about a lot, I guess you could say. But I think it's really important if you're out there, especially if you're in the working world, you know, doing those things. You've got to keep up with it. You can't sit on your hands and hope that your job is going to be okay, you know, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. It may not be there. But it doesn't mean there aren't going to be other jobs created afterward that have to do with the technology that's, you know, taking your job. So just an interesting way of looking at it there, right? Mark, have a great day, bud. You think it's the same thing there as what I'm saying there about it? Yeah, I think there's a good possibility. Now, I can't say that's definitely what's going to happen. Remember, these are all projections and possibilities based on things that are happening now and what they could see. That doesn't mean they have to come true. But, you know, again, as I was talking to Juan there, if you've got, you know, 20% of GDP increase, you know, in the next 5 years, it's kind of hard to see how you have a, you know, a depression or something like that at that point. Like I said, we can have a recession along the way. It's been a while. I mean, we had the pandemic, but that was different than, say, 2008, right? With the mortgage thing. But, you know, so you can still have the pullbacks in the market, and I would expect a pullback. But again, as far as it being like the end all be all for maybe 30 years or something, I don't know. I think there's the possibility with the way that technology is really ramping up right now. AI, blockchain, stuff like that. I think there's a possibility we could kind of prolong this push higher for longer overall. So yeah, interesting. Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Again, make sure you're following him, guys. Get so much great information that he puts out there. And, you know, he is the senior crypto research analyst over there, or researcher over there at Bitwise. So he's got access to a lot of data and a lot of experience in what he does. So a lot of good information on that. Let me see. Let's go and pull up some charts here, guys. Let's do this. I don't know why it's put me over here now, but it's okay, right? Put me all over here. Shy. All right. This is a Bitcoin. This is the CME here, by the way. You know, every once in a while I'll bring up a different chart. Sometimes Bitcoin itself, sometimes Bitcoin all-time history index, sometimes CME, right? As you can see here, all we've done is pull back to right now the daily pivot, the range EQ. You can see that daily Stochastic RSI has bottomed out and oversold here. RSI itself is right around neutral here. We'll see how today ends up. Let me see here. Weekly, of course, we are oversold once more here. We got rejected just prior to overbought, but we're still bullish above neutral. That weekly candle looks ugly. It happens sometimes. We'll have to see how the weekly ends. Remember, guys, this is the weekly. So until it actually ends Sunday, at the end of the day, Sunday, UTC, right? This thing could still put a big old wick down here, which would be quite possible. You know, showing the demand in this area right here, right? I mean, basically, you have this one dip here, but other than it's all wicks in here, other than the one push through it, and now we're kind of pulling back through it. It is that lower volume node area. So we'll see how it continues to play out here. But again, nothing's changed in my overall look on it. I think we're still headed higher for longer. I'm looking right now based on this pullback right here. I want to break out. See this daily candle here that's different than the other ones. See how these other black candles, and you got this one white candle with this large upper wick. I want to break out above the top of that there on the CME. That's 70,480. If we can do that, I think the next step then is that breakout to new all-time highs. And like I said, that should take us into the into 80,000 there, probably like around 87 or so. Ultimately, I mean, probably, you know, get around 83 or something like that, a little bit of a pullback, and then continue up toward 87,000. Again, I think we get the real kind of decent pullback once we get up around 95, 100,000. And then you might see like a 25 or 30% pullback at that point. Remember, this pullback here has only been from the all-time high down to the swing low was only 23.5%. So again, in terms of usual Bitcoin pullbacks, right, that's very, very small. So not overly worried about it. Let's see here, 12-hour, we're almost resetting down and oversold on the 12-hour RSI there. Let's see, 4-hour. Let's see, what do we got here? We've got a bit of a potential bullish divergence here if we get a turn up from where we're going. So we'll have to wait and see if we get that. But yeah, we could be getting bullish divergence printing here, right around this EQ area. We're jumping into the 1 hour. What do we see there? Stochastic RSI is almost reset, so I want to see that probably reset. RSI is resetting. We're getting a little bit of a movement here. We got rejected right there at the S1 pivot. Came on down. Let's see here. If this is going to be, let me see. All right, so if this is going to be an ABC down, potentially a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us A, B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a C. We really kind of need to get a reversal from right around this area. If we break down below that, that'll invalidate that idea that it's an ABC. Well, not to invalidate that idea, that'll invalidate that this is 5 down here. because again, you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if we're dropping down below that on the CME here, below like 65, 230, that'll make wave 3 the shortest, because as you'll see here, wave 1, which is down here, is more than 100%. So it's larger than wave 3. So I would be looking in this kind of this area here to see if we can get a reversal. You can see the 15-minute. We got capitulation volume on the 15-minute coming down into the low here. We got volume picking up. Let's see if we can get that rally up there. But overall, nothing's changed. Still looking for this just to be finishing up the reaccumulation here and heading higher on this. Let me see here. Qs. What do we got on the Qs, guys? Qs look great. Look at this rally today, up 477.73. You can see we had this nice breakout, retest, rallying up. I've got a 544 target on that. So, yeah, I would continue to look up there toward that. You can see here this is the weekly, by the way. You can see the weekly RSI is pushing back up into overbought, which it doesn't tell you it has to sell right away. Notice stays oversold or overbought a bit before it tops out, right? It just means that it's very bullish, okay? That's what it means. Stochc RSI, not quite broken into overbought yet either. So, again, still looking for that higher for longer right now to get us up there. Let me see here. Based on the pullback, what is this actually? Yeah, see, that's that target based on the height of this pullback here. So I think Qs are still looking good overall. What about Ethereum? So Ethereum losing daily pivot support here, pulling back into this this fair value gap here on the daily. So if we look at that, about that right there, it's right around the 50% of that. We can see the daily Stochc RSI bottomed out, oversold. RSI hasn't quite gotten there yet, so I could see this potentially pulling back a bit. But if we're looking at this as a 1, 2, and a 3, and this being a 4 here, we've got a 50% pullback, so we would start looking for that potentially to reverse around this area. Again, that puts us right around the S2 pivot on the hourly here with this. Let me see. Yeah, let me zoom in a little bit more here. 4 hour, what do we got going on? 4 hour Stochc RSI, still not oversold yet. 1 hour, we are getting that capitulation volume coming in right now on the 1 hour. Stochc RSI and RSI both resetting and oversold. I'll be honest, it looks like 3 waves up. So, we could maybe see a dip below here. Within this range here, there's a lot of spikes of volume throughout it. Where's the volume coming out? Well, we had volume coming in right here to reject us down to the low. A little bit up here toward the top for went sideways and came down. Again, more volume on the rally up to the top here. And then on the breakdown into this support. So we'll see how this continues to play out here. But, generally speaking, if I'm looking at it right here, I mean, it does appear, this count here does appear to be 1 up here. So that would make this, again, a 1, 2, 3 working on a 4 here. I guess if we were to continue come down lower below that, below this 50% area we're at here, probably look around the top of this range, which gets us right around the 61.8. But then we're kind of dropping down into, well, we're kind of almost doing that right now into this. Well, that's not wave 1. I'm sorry. Wave 1 is here. Yeah, we really just don't want to see it necessarily pushing down into wave 1 here. That would have to then make it, if this was to be the swing low, that would have to make it a leading diagonal. So you get a 1, 2, 3, 4 down in there, and then 5 back up. But if we can get a rally from around where we're at here, that should give us locally a 43.90, 43.95 kind of target area there. So again, right now it's waiting for it to do something here, right? It's letting, we can't say, oh, it's definitely done here. We have to say, okay, is it done? And so this is that part of trading where, most people don't like. It's the waiting. You say, okay, well, here's my setup. Are we, is it going to work out? Is it not? We'll see. But we need more confirmation of movement, of a reversal on that. Okay. Let me see here. Got a question that says, Chris, you and the beards from Arch. He's talking about beards and Bitcoin on Wednesdays, guys. He says, we talked about most trading is algorithmic. Are the buys and sells that they are executing updated in real time in your experience? Yeah, so they are, 90+% of stock market is algorithms, because it's big, right? Everybody always says, well, where's retail? Where's retail? Guys, retail is such a small part of the markets, right? In the stock market, for instance, retail is about, what was it, 25, 30% now? But that's only been up the last few years. Prior to that, it was like, 15, 20%. So while retail has come in, it's definitely the smallest part, right? So the algorithms, of course, are the big companies and institutions and funds and stuff like that are out there trading that way. But the question is, are the buys and sells that are executing updated in real time? What do you mean? Are they updated in real time? There are dark pools where large, if you're going to do a large buy or a large sell, it's usually done via dark pools, because that keeps the price from being impacted immediately on that, right? Oh, okay. You're saying, are they adjusting on 1-minute charts or setting targets based on daily, weekly charts? Oh, you mean for them? So, again, it depends on what you're doing, right? So there's different kinds of algorithmic trading out there. You have, your many of your funds and whatnot are longer price targets, right? Longer time frame price targets. And so they're based on larger time frames, right? Daily, weekly, something like that. But you also have, to the other extreme of that, you have your high frequency trading going on, right? Now, high frequency traders trading algorithms, if you're a high frequency trading algorithm on that, and you get involved in the stock market, you have to have a line directly to the market, and they actually give you extra decimal points. And you're looking to make just those extra decimal points, not even like a penny a lot of times, right? And you're doing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of trades a day. And that's really kind of how that works. So, and then of course, between them, again, you've got maybe your mid-range kind of funds, your lower end funds, 100 million, 50 million, stuff like that. And they're, and they might have a more frequent trade. If they're running a quant desk, if they're running if they're a quant firm, they could actually do trades a lot more throughout the day as well. Yeah, and not even do like high frequency trading, but just do it, based on whatever that happens, certain levels that are breached or done in a certain way throughout the day. Or as many of them also do, guys, when the FOMC releases its reports, its news events, this stuff comes out like that. Their algorithms, they read those reports immediately. They're checking for keywords to get sentiment. What does the report basically mean? And how should the market be expected to trade? And it does all this, like that. And that's why you see the sudden reactions when it comes out before you even get a chance to read the headline. That's why you'll see that, because these algorithms have taken in all that information and done it all that quick before you even have that chance there. So, it just depends on the firm itself. There are different ways of doing it. They don't all do it the same. Again, you can go from high frequency trading to longer term, maybe long only funds or something like that. And then of course the other in between there. So it just depends on the firm itself. But the more quant driven it is, the more trading it's going to do with that. So that's probably the best way to think about it. I hope that makes sense to you there. So anyway, yeah. Again, if we break down here, continue to drop down, we'll look down toward this, 3273 kind of area here on Ethereum, and then see if we can get that rally back up. Minimally looking at a local target of about 4390, 4400 kind of area here. And you see that'll get us just right here, just previous to the all-time high, right? Now, based on this pullback, based on the height of this pullback here, we're generally expecting that move up there toward 5185 or so up there. So, again, still have that, don't get hung up on these short-term kind of movements. If you're serious about making a little bit of money, look for those bigger term targets there. What do I think that the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio will hit this summer max? My favorite answer is whatever it'll hit. Guys, listen, I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't have a lot of when you have questions like that, it's really kind of, well, okay, so I'm going to guess is what it is, right? And I don't know. I don't think guessing is really helpful to you guys at all. Now you're going to ask a lot of other people, and they're going to guess, and they may even sound really, really like they guarantee it. But I would be careful with that kind of thing. We can pull up the Ethereum Bitcoin chart here. I haven't looked at it yet. More recently here, maybe I can figure out something. Let me take a look at it. Let me see here. So we'll see if we can get this pullback from this area. I was looking for a pullback toward the pivot and to get a bounce toward the R1, a pullback, and then rally up. This summer. So you mean probably by what? September? Be about 2.5 months. I could see. I don't know. Guys, listen, this is going to be completely a guess, and I'm probably going to be 100% wrong on this. If we can get a rally from this area here, and we're following this path going up here, I think we could potentially see 0.065 here. 0.066, right around the EQ of the range. And that's kind of conservative, but again, completely a guess here based on that. But if we can get it, we would probably get a decent move up here, a pullback, and then this will start a good bit of a push here. But I think, the bigger part of the push, the latter part of this push, this is a wave 3, would be probably, after September, September into the end of the year. Do I have a general rule when I follow on profit taking? Like if your position hits up 25%, pull some or reallocate. With the miners, I've been letting it run, but 25% is nothing for them. So yeah, every time before I take a trade, I know exactly where I'm exiting. I don't just get into a trade and just hold and hope it continues going up. So when I get into a trade, I know exactly where I'm entering, where my stop loss is, how much I'm risking, where my take profits are. And so for me, a lot of people talk about scaling in. I'm a bigger fan of scaling out. I believe that your risk management, your exit are infinitely more important than your entry. And so I'll usually scale out. And the way that I scale out is when I hit my first target, I'll pull my stop loss up to break even. Not before then, when I do. And then if I hit my second target, I'll pull my stop loss up to my first target. And then, if I hit my third target, I'm out. Or, if I do a four positions on the way out, I'll usually exit 2 to 4 positions. So either 50%, 33, or 25% at a time. I just keep it pretty even. There's no reason for me, I never found any reason to make it more difficult and go, oh, well, you got to exit more as you're going up or whatever. I'm old. I just make it all even when I do that. So, but yeah. And I would suggest if you're involved, if you're getting into trading, guys, in any bit, make sure before you enter that you know where your entry, your stop loss, and your take profit are. Because what happens if you don't is that you're all emotion then afterward, right? And as human beings, that's one of the traits of being human. We're emotional. It makes it, well, sometimes it makes it great for relationships, right? But sometimes we do really stupid things and be really stupid because we're emotional, right? But in trading, emotion's really devastating. And so it doesn't guarantee that you're going to follow the rules of your entry, your exit, your stop loss, and all that. But it does give you something more concrete, and it does help you deal with the emotion a bit as price is going on. But yeah, you should definitely have all that kind of in there, before you enter. Otherwise, it becomes really, really difficult to figure out when and how to exit because, again, you become much, much more emotional, especially as you have profits. Because then you're like, oh my God, I've had these profits, I want to lock them in, and then it goes up higher, right? And you're not sure where you're getting back in on it or whatever. So yeah. Do you have a segment of your investments just pointed to gain Bitcoin and disregard USD? Do you mean, do I buy Bitcoin just to buy Bitcoin? Yeah. I've talked about it before. I think especially even if you're a trader, I think you should, if you're in the crypto market, hell, if you're in any market, I think as a trader, you should have a bag of Bitcoin, period, and a cent that you don't touch. I'm a big believer of that, guys, because of what we've been talking about, right? If you've watched Beards and Bitcoin this week, if you read my newsletter, The Market Breakdown last week, if you listened to Juan Leon today, and I'm going to start putting out a lot more of this, guys, a lot more of this, because, even though I've shown you year after year that charts, you don't have to know all this other stuff, right? People still fight against it. And I know a lot of y'all are here and you're dealing with that. And if I can give you good quality fundamental information, you'll see how it aligns with the charts. And hopefully it'll help you, be better traders and better investors. But yeah, I think, if you're in the markets at all, I think it's a serious misstep on your part if you don't have Bitcoin that you just buy consistently and it doesn't matter how much, just buy Bitcoin consistently and put it in that bag, right? Gary Cardone, I think, has said it the best. He says, listen, I don't care about the price of Bitcoin because I believe in what it leads to in the future, right? And again, if you've been watching my shows here lately, we talk about Bitcoin being the base layer of things to come, right? And so if you believe that narrative, if you believe in that, then you should be looking for just how much can you buy, right? So when Gary looks at it, he says, listen, I'm buying Bitcoin not for me, but for my kids, for their future. And so for him, the way he says he does it is, again, he doesn't care about the price. He's just constantly buying as he can, right? Because he's looking to get to a certain number of Bitcoin. I think he was looking at 1,000 Bitcoin is what he wants to ultimately, that's his target. And I think that's a great way to look at it. Again, if you believe that Bitcoin has this potential for the future, because what's going to happen is a lot of time as traders, you're going to make mistakes, especially if you haven't really gone in and learned how and why markets move like they do and how to trade successfully. You're going to lose a lot of money along the way. And if you have this bit of Bitcoin that sits in that bag and just doesn't do anything, think about it. If you've been in the markets for the last, 3 years, right? Let's say you've been in the market for the last 3 years. And you've been trying to learn how to trade. You're not consistently profitable yet, right? That means you've lost probably more money than you've made over the last 3 years, right? But had you taken a small bit of that along the way and put it into Bitcoin, just don't touch it, right? You'd still be up. You see what I'm saying? So I think, there is that part of me that's, that does that. I believe that everybody should, if you believe in that potential future for Bitcoin. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. If it doesn't, let me know. I'm real keen to kind of help you understand my thesis and my understanding and the way that I'm approaching it. It doesn't mean you have to do that. Do what you need to do. But when I'm talking, again, I'm talking from 30 years of experience of doing this. And this being the first time I've ever seen anything like this across any market, right? Trading futures and stocks and energy and commodities and metals and crypto and Forex. There's been nothing like Bitcoin. Comparable in Bitcoin. I can tell you from experience in the last 30 years. And so that's why, for me, that's why I'm really passionate about, trading it. And and even when I came in 2017, though, and I saw this potential, I was still trading it. I was keeping, bag. It was always going to be that. But I wasn't as deeply convinced then as I am now. I was telling Juan right before the show, I said, here's the crazy thing about Bitcoin. I've been, actively involved in Bitcoin since January of 2017. This year is the first time I've ever been anywhere near as excited as I am about it and about its future and whatnot. And really that is really kicked up, this year with the spot Bitcoin ETFs coming in, seeing how quickly all of a sudden this political side of it, Bitcoin and crypto has become a big part of the political narrative now. So yeah, that's how I do it. So yeah, got a bag of Bitcoin, never touch it. My plan is to never actually touch it, right? My plan is to have it there and be able to utilize it like we tend to use other assets in the future, right? Without ever actually selling it. Now, does that mean I won't ever sell it? No, I can't say that. I can't. I'm not foolish. I'm not foolish enough to say I will never or I will always, right? I think a lot of people get caught up in that. They believe their own nonsense. Oh, I'd never. And then somebody's like, hey, here's $1 billion. Like, okay. Yeah. Especially depending on whatever your current socioeconomic status is at that time, right? Not that I'm saying you guys hold $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, but I'm just saying, I'm a firm believer that pretty much everybody has a number of some sort. I like to hope that I don't when it comes to Bitcoin, and I continue to hold it. But, I do trade some Bitcoin when I trade, with everything else, but that's separate from that. So is Cardone selling assets for more Bitcoin on this dip? Every time I see that guy, he's trying to sell something. I know recently he was trying to sell his new, and I love it. I love it because, you guys are always like, put your money where your mouth is, put your money where. Well, he sold a $2.5 million home and put it into Bitcoin, right? In this range. He's trying to sell his $250,000 Land Rover autograph that he has. I know that's the most recent thing, and just continue driving around, in his, whatever it was, 2016 or 17 that he's got. Currently he has his current place, 12.5 million. He's got it for sale for Bitcoin. And so, his goal is definitely to trade the assets that he has for Bitcoin. So yeah. So hopefully that makes sense there, guys, right? Bitcoin is a fundamental shift. One may not believe in fiats or banks, depending on research. All right, let me jump in a few more charts here, guys, real quick. Link. So Link to me still looks good. Congratulations to those of you that listen to me down here and bought and have held. It's been a great ride so far. Right here at around $5. It made 352% rally already. It's currently sitting about almost 200% off that low, which is great. I'm looking for a potential reversal off this S1 pivot. It's about 61.8 retracement. To me, it looks like it's possible we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and working on just the finish of the pullback here. So the daily Stochh RSI is oversold. RSI is nearing oversold. Again, probably looking for a little bit further pull down, at least to the S1 pivot, around $14.15 or so. You can see we've got this low volume node right here, which is where we've been, we had resistance here and then support all through here. We've just got price acceptance right here, which means a lot of trading. Matter of fact, this is since whatever this day is over here, July 2nd of 23. Slightly higher volume node right here. And then you have this one at 7.5, and then this one kind of where we're at, the biggest high volume node. So where the market is most interested. Okay. So, you know, usually, again, you're going to look for those low volume nodes to hold their support or resistance until they don't anymore. Okay. Because that's where the market's not really interested. The market's not going to try and chase price through it. The market's interested here. But as you start getting the lower volume nodes, the market's less and less interested. Doesn't mean price can't go through it, but it means that until it does, you know, you should expect it to hold as resistance or support. Again, see this low volume node up here? Resistance right here. This one right here gives you this resistance and support right here. So again, looking to see if we can get a rally up at that S1. If we can do that, I'm looking up here toward $37.50 for the target. So if we can get a reversal off here, an impulsive breakout and close above the, you know, this daily pivot here at about $16.50, I think we'll be heading up there toward $37.50 on that. Sol, I'm looking at it potentially. You know, again, leading diagonal maybe here with ABC is 1, 2, ABC is 3, 4, and we get ABC up. And if we get that from this area right here about where we're at, that gives us a 225 target. But ultimately, again, I'm still looking up here beyond 410. 410 is the weekly R5 pivot up here. And I think there's little reason to believe that we shouldn't be breaking out through that at some point. So again, if you bought Sol down here around $9 when I said to buy it and you've held all this time, congratulations. You're rich. We went up 2,230% almost. It's a great little run. And right now we're still up 1,454%. So if you guys ever wonder why I don't get freaked out by the day-to-day movements, besides the fact that I've been doing this a very long time, right? It's because I've learned how to identify these you know, accumulation distributions, you know, these bear market lows and highs, right? And so when you buy down there, you can hold and not worry about a little pullback, you know? And that's what, you know, what I really push in learning over at the Trading Academy, because I want you guys to be able to do this as well. I want you guys to be better than I've ever been as a trader. And I want you to do it in less time. I don't want you to go through all the crap that I went through and all the mistakes and all the lost money I did, you know, before I really figured it out. And so when people ask me, well, why, if you're such a great trader, why do you do that? That's why I do that. Well, one is I create, you know, I'm entrepreneurial. I like to create things. So create businesses, right? But the other thing really, it's really all about hoping to affect somebody so that they get it. And they get it a lot quicker than I did. And they do a lot better than I did. Because if you do better than me, that doesn't hurt me. That doesn't mean I'm doing worse, right? I've never understood that when people try to teach somebody something and they're like, oh, well, you know, excuse me. They're like, oh, well, you know, I'm not going to teach you these secrets over here because I don't want you to be better than me. Why not? Why wouldn't you want, if you're teaching somebody something, and if your goal really is to teach, why wouldn't you want them to be better than you ever were? That doesn't make any sense to me. If you don't want that, why the hell are you teaching anybody to do anything? It doesn't make any sense to me. But, you know, you get a lot of that out there. So, but yeah, you know, overall looking for that. But here's the thing, we could continue to fall further. And if we do, I would look for it to target the S1 pivot here at $126, $127. If this is going to be a leading diagonal, right, with the fifth wave still to go, we can't drop below this swing low right here, this pullback. So we rallied up the first pullback here at 118.47. We can't break down below that. If we break down below that, then this is not going to, you know, continue up there like that. And we'd look for it to head lower. And in that case, see this, I guess we could potentially look at something like right down here toward the bottom of this this weekly demand structure, right around $104, right around $100. Previous area of support resistance here, because that would make this potentially an A, a B, and a C, or a WXY. So if we don't rally up here and break out and head up toward that, we'll look at the S1 pivot target, and if it does, we could potentially see it sweeping the low here around $100 before potentially heading up. But then, if we got that kind of pullback, you'd have a nice rally up, guys. If we were to do that, I mean, just off here, we hit here, let's say we hit $100. Let me see, where's $100 at? Right around there. We'd be looking up here 333 at least on the next move, at least. That would assume that this is a 3 and that's a 4 and that's a 5 coming up. So, bigger picture, right? You guys should always be looking at the bigger picture, even if you're trading the smaller time frames. Let me see here. Silver and gold both getting a little move here. You got this kind of descending wedge here. So if we can break out through, you could say the daily pivot, you could say the descending resistance, you could say this swing high right here at 24.06 and 70 cents. If we can break through, those, we should be coming up at least to 25.6430. But still, I've got this target up here around 3,053 as well. But locally, rallying from here would give me that target. That's where I'd be interested in looking at. For gold, let me see. And silver got kind of a similar thing going on with silver. We got kind of this descending wedge here. We potentially have this throw under of the wedge around the 61.8 retracement. Looking for the move up. If we can get this and break out through this descending resistance here, that'll actually give us a target up here minimally of 35.45. But again, I've still got targets up higher here at $41 and $48. I think ultimately we're heading up toward $50, $45, $50, and I think we're going to do that before the end of the year, potentially even before Q4, guys. I think there's a lot of potential for that. I think we may see silver outpace gold here coming up. Let me see here. Ton USDT. Let's see. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to get out of here, guys. I got a few things I need to do. If you haven't yet, please do me a favor. Make sure you like, the show here. Make sure you subscribe, follow me wherever we're at, wherever. Leave a comment, because all those things help. It's social media. It helps it get out there more. It's not for my vanity or anything like that. It helps it get out there more. And I'd really appreciate it if you could do that for me. Why do I think that silver could get to 50 this year? Look at the gold-silver ratio. It broke down recently. So we should see gold, we should see it continue to break down a bit more. And that should lead to that rally. If you look at it historically, just look at the support locally. If you look at I don't know, you can look at the weekly. You'll see that it broke down. And so it's the gold-silver ratio. Yeah. And so that just kind of fits in with it every time that's kind of happened in the past. It's only happened a few times if you look at the chart. I think it's happened like 4 or 5 times or something like that. And every time it's done, silver is taken off against gold, which makes sense breaking down, right? So yeah. Let me see here. So potentially we've got wave B in progress here again. ABC down, ABC up, and then we'd look for a drop back down here toward the wave A swing low. But if this is 4 and done here, I think there'll be a short pullback. That's a 38.2 pullback. Wave 4 could be done here. And if so, yeah, that has, based on the height of this, if this continues pushing higher, we'd have this target up here of around $10.58. This is on the weekly, of course. If we jump back to the daily, let's see here. I mean, daily still got some room here on Stochastic RSI and RSI to go up. But if we get stopped here again, it looks like, A, B, C. And that would give us that flat, and we look for that pullback down here toward this wave A swing low. If we continue pushing up through that, we'll suggest that wave 4 is done here. Wave 5 is in progress again up here toward minimally, basically $10.50 there. All right. That's what we're looking at. What's Bitcoin doing? Oh, look, Bitcoin getting a little rally right off the EQ there. Let's see here. 4-hour Stochastic RSI reset and oversold. RSI not quite, but again, RSI has potential bullish divergence printing there. 1 hour we've reset in both. 15-minute, of course, reset in both. We'll see if we can get this rally up and off through here. Let's go on a shorter time frame here. Man, we swept liquidity here. Let's see if we can sweep liquidity here, get a pullback, and then go. That's what I'd be looking for on the shorter time frame, 5 minute. Stuff that we teach in the price action with at the Trading Academy. But that's a nice bounce there right now. Capitulative volume. So let's see if we can get this rally up on Bitcoin. All right, guys. So that's it. I appreciate you guys joining in as always. Do me a favor, join in with the other programs that I have, the podcast that I have. Wednesdays is Beard and Bitcoin at same time, same places, 11 a.m. And on that, of course, you have the guys from Arch Public joining me. The other two beards, Andrew and Tillman. And if you weren't blown away by Wednesday's talk, if that didn't open up your mind to the idea of how you should be looking at investing in general, I think, watch it again. It's just so much amazing, great information out there on how we actually look at investing and how you should look at investing. If you're looking for it, stop looking at the thing as it is today. Look what the potential is for it, what it leads to in the future, right? So there's that. And of course, these shows on Fridays, you can join us at the TWC Trading Academy. We'd love to have you there. Our members are pretty freaking awesome. I'm okay, I guess. And other than that, I've got the market breakdown, which comes out every week. You can subscribe to that, as well as the Bitcoin Bitcoin miner stock report. I always want to say stock market. Anyway, and that's going to focus on Bitcoin mining stocks specifically. I think we've got like 18 or 19 stocks that I'll update every week with that. So if you're looking to make some money in the stock market, I would suggest that would be a great place to pay attention to, because of, again, if you've been paying attention this whole week and last week and everything I've been talking about as far as where Bitcoin is headed, and miners in particular, you're going to get all that. You're going to get, industry news and analysis coming out as well as at least once a month an interview with somebody, an analyst, a researcher, or somebody deeply within Bitcoin mining, just to help you understand it and where things may be going. Because again, a lot of y'all didn't listen to me when I was talking about Bitcoin miners a year and a half ago. A lot of you weren't listening to me. Clean Spark went from 2 and change, went up 12x, guys, went up $25, $26. That's just one of them, right? And I want you guys to make money with these things. So you can jump in there on that and check that out, and that would be awesome as well. But other than that, make sure you guys show up on Fridays here, okay? Andrew says, Chris, he's okay too. But he is saying here, Andrew's a member there. He says the members are great, and I have to agree. It's probably the single best reason to be a part of TWC, honestly. But we've got more stuff coming out as the summer and the fall come in, guys. You know, a lot of great, interesting stuff, which means we'll probably be needing to hire people, researchers, analysts, stuff like that. So keep paying attention. Join us where you can, how you can. Remember, the only thing you control is how much you lose. So please keep working on your risk management, okay? I'm telling you guys, no matter everything else we talk about, everything else I teach, your risk management is the only thing, consistent, proper risk management, that will keep you in the market. Okay? If you haven't figured that out yet, I hope you take this as your wake-up call and you take it seriously. Because, again, I've been doing this for 3 decades now. I've talked to probably tens of thousands of traders over that time. And the only ones that have been successful for any length of time gave most of their attention to proper risk management. Okay? All right, guys, listen, I had a great time. I've enjoyed you guys over here. I'm going to put myself up there real big so you can see me. You guys have a great weekend. Y'all trade safe. And again, make sure you follow Juan there. Follow Andrew and Tillman, the guys from the Wednesday show. More great information there as well. Okay? Troy, yes. Yes. There are still some. Troy's asking, he says, is the $50 founder lifetime price for the Bitcoin miner newsletter still available? Yes, it is. So what we did was we put it out for only the first 500 people that sign up, and those are going pretty quick. You guys are signing up. I love it. I really appreciate the belief in what I do. And the idea, you know, is that you're paying $50 one time and you get it forever. For as long as that newsletter continues, you don't ever have to pay again. And you get all this, again, weekly 17, 18, 19 charts updated weekly with Bitcoin miners to give you an idea of longer term, what you're looking at and what's going on locally, as well as all that news and information and the interviews and whatnot. Once we're done with that, it's going to be $20 a month or $200 a year. And once we hit 1,000 subscribers on that, that's probably going to go up to $50 a month. So, but you know, here at the end of the day, guys, here's the thing. You will make, there's no way you won't make at least $50, right? Based on the charts and things that I'm going to be putting in there. You're going to make a lot more. You know, there's just, my track record's there, right? I've been doing it publicly for how long now, guys? So, but you can, there's still some spaces left for the $50 founders lifetime price on that. So if you want that, jump in on it. And again, that would be the only thing you do there. That does come out, by the way, guys, the inaugural issue, the first issue will come out on Monday with that. And so, you know, if you're just a stock trader even, and you're looking for where can I really kind of potentially make some good money in stocks, I'm telling you, Bitcoin miners are where you need to look. So much has happened here even just the last month, guys. It's been absolutely crazy. And I think if you're in stocks and you're not in Bitcoin miners, I think you're really missing out on the profits that you're probably looking for. So anyway, we'll be talking about a lot more about that in that. Okay, guys. Hey, listen, I always appreciate y'all showing up. Again, share the link if you got it, you know, here as well for the video. I'd appreciate that. Again, the idea is just that more eyeballs beget the algorithm to bring in more eyeballs and more people can see what we're doing here. All right. All right, guys. Andrew said he's talking about the TWC Trading Academy. He said he made his annual fee just in the CRV dip. So that's awesome. Anyway, okay, guys, listen, I'm out of here. Y'all have a great weekend. Trade safe. And if you join up with us over there at the Trading Academy, man, step out and say hi. I got a lot of great people I'd love to introduce you to, members we got there, like Andrew, and they will change your life as well. Andrew puts out a ton of great charts on his own for the community in there, guys. A lot of money to be made. So, all right, I'm out of here. Y'all have a great weekend. Trade safe. and I will see you, well, next Wednesday, Beards and Bitcoin, or next Friday here with the Market Analysis Show. Okay? Take care.